Welcome back, my friends. We have all heard for decades now that robots are going to kill jobs in the economy. But, is it really true? Or, are robots just taking away the mundane jobs that nobody wants to do? Or, maybe it is just impossible for a machine to have all of the things that humans workers have. Well, robots have been around in some form for a long time. And every new technological development seems to bring headlines. Even Elon Musk bought a robot company. And he is trying to develop robots to build Tesla cars. But realistically, how soon can that happen? And Amazon has been developing robots to work in their warehouses. But you can't drive 50 miles on the freeway without seeing an Amazon ad to hire warehouse workers. Even the Amazon warehouse workers are trying to unionize. Amazon is also firing some robots who are not working up to productivity standards. But does it also mean job cuts? What does this mean for workers? What does this mean for consumers? What does it mean for the stock market? What does it mean for the US economy? And what does it mean for the future of the United States? But, before we get into all of that, please hit the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Americans worry about robots stealing their jobs. Are they just fearmongers who've watched too many movies? Artificial intelligence, automation, and robotics. You know all of the buzzwords. If you listen to the proponents, robots will boost workers' productivity and spur economic growth. And, at the same time, create new jobs with higher pay. Or at least that's the argument. But robots may not be as beneficial for workers as some claim. New research shows that automation could have positive impacts on economic growth and productivity. But workers might not be the ones who benefit. Exposure to robots had negative effects on employment, said economics professors Osea Juntela of the University of Pittsburgh. This is leading some workers to drop out of the labor force and increasing unemployment, Juntela continued. Juntela researched the effects of industrial robots on the Chinese labor market. She found that the workforce struggled to adjust to the dramatic changes brought by robotics. Robot exposure led to a decline in labor force participation, Juntela continued. And a decline in hourly wages, Juntela said. At the same time, among those who kept working, robot exposure increased the number of hours worked by 14%, Juntela also noted. China has invested heavily in robotics. It has led the world in the automation of jobs for more than a decade. This makes sense because China is a world leader in the industrial sector. China has more industrial robots than any other country in the world. It has more robots than the US when it comes to the number of industrial robots per capita. But the rise of robots in industrial settings in China has not always been beneficial to workers. Foxconn, Apple's main iPhone supplier, is one manufacturer that made a huge automation push. Over 400,000 human jobs were replaced with robots between 2012 and 2016. The evidence for short-term labor market woes caused by robotics in China is strong, said Juntela. That's especially bad news for developing economies, Juntela continued. The developing world's workers will likely feel the brunt of the rise of robotics and automation in the near term, Juntela also noted. Agricultural and manufacturing sectors are a much larger proportion of the overall economy in developing nations. Automation and robotics are more developed and prevalent in these two industries. So, robots are more likely to displace workers in developing nations. And a higher percentage of workers in developing nations have only a high school education or less. So, the displaced workers, it will take time to adjust to the change. They will need to acquire the skills necessary to benefit from the new jobs brought by new technology. Robotics, artificial intelligence, and automation. The implications of robotization in emerging markets for jobs, growth, and inequality could be profound, Juntela wrote. Without employment creation, automation, digitalization and labor-saving technologies may foster inequality, Juntela continued. Developing nations may be faced with an existential decision. Is increased productivity and potential higher economic inequality and social unrest? Because this is the choice if they choose to continue automating away jobs with robots. Do robotics and automation improve long-term productivity? Well, that is the big question and it warrants more research, according to Juntela. Time will tell. But for now, workers will probably continue to lose jobs to these new technologies. As you all probably know, Amazon has been a major proponent, investor, and developer of robots. Founder Jeff Bezos would repeatedly discuss Amazon's use of robotics in televised interviews. Amazon employed engineers to design and build robots. Robots from outside companies were purchased and installed. More recent projects under Bezos included many high-profile bets: self-driving robo-taxis, cashierless stores, and delivery drones. Amazon's days with Jeff Bezos are over and there is a new sheriff in town. Andy Jassy took over as Amazon CEO last year. Jassy is making some big changes at Amazon this year. But as CEO of Amazon as a whole, Jassy has had to deal with some huge challenges. Inflation raging at a 40-year high. Supply chain problems. An aggressive organized labor push. And a weakening macroeconomic environment. And more cuts may be on the way. Investor sentiment has changed a lot this year alone. Wall Street analysts have no more appetite for experimental high-risk investing. Amazon's single-digit revenue growth for the past 3 quarters. Mostly, this is because of softening demand in its core online stores business. And Jassy is dialing back Amazon's COVID expansion. The COVID era left the company saddled with too many warehouses. And too many employees. Amazon cut its employee base by 99,000 people to 1.52 million. More job cuts could be coming. Amazon is in the middle of its annual planning process. Tracking consulting firm MWPVL International estimates that Amazon has abandoned plans for 42 new warehouses that it intended to build. Also, the opening of 21 new warehouses have been delayed. This means that almost 28 million square feet of new warehouse space has been either cancelled or delayed by Amazon. Amazon has also cancelled 5 European warehouses, 4 of which are in Spain, the firm said. Amazon notified Maryland officials that it plans to close 2 Baltimore area delivery stations. That will put more than 300 employees out of work. The Maryland closings are part of an initiative to shift work to more modern buildings, Amazon says. Amazon Chief Executive Officer Andy Jassy said, Amazon has pledged to unwind part of a pandemic-era expansion that saddled Amazon with a surfeit of warehouse space and too many employees. Amazon typically reduces its headcount of hourly workers by leaving vacant positions open, slowing the pace of hiring. CEO Jassy noted, warehouse closings are also part of the mix, and the company is bracing for more. During the second quarter, Amazon's workforce was reduced by 100,000 jobs in the second quarter of 2022 to 1.52 million. This is the largest reduction in employee headcount in the entire history of Amazon. Amazon has also been seeking to sublease at least 10 million square feet of warehouse space, Bloomberg reported. Amazon doubled the size of its logistics network over 2 years during the pandemic. This is because consumers were mostly confined to their homes and so they stampeded to online shopping. At one point, Amazon opened a new warehouse every 24 hours somewhere in the continental US. Amazon has run into tenuous relations with labor unions in recent years. The closing of logistics facilities is not going to help relations with organized labor. A labor union in Staten Island, New York won a big victory against Amazon earlier in 2022. The New York Labor Union was founded by a fired Amazon worker. Amazon made a court filing to overturn the result. But, the filing was rejected by a federal judge. Workers at an Amazon fulfillment center in Albany, New York plan to hold a union election as well. Amazon CEO Jassy said, how much overcapacity Amazon needs to work through is hard to gauge. Wall Street analysts think that Amazon actually needs the extra space for the upcoming Christmas holiday season. What do you think? Please leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of future videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. Thank you for watching.